Welcome everybody. Good morning, Jai Hind. Very pleased to have Kartik with us today. I think most of you are familiar with Kartik. For those of you who are not, Kartik is a communications expert and a mental health specialist. Uh, and In a couple of weeks, he will actually be talking to us about his other speciality around mental health when he uh, comes in at the retreat, and that session is on Sunday, 2 weeks from now. And so that's also online for us as well. On the communication side, Karthik has done several things. He's written a book, he's made ad films, he's worked in communications. Um, you know, Once I remember him saying that we hadn't started working, he come to Jaipur and started teaching. He may have been making films right now. So that's the sort of person Karthik is. And over the last few sessions, I know that I've personally gained a lot from his tips that he has given on communication and all types of communication. And today he'll be focused on on the written communication piece of it. For those of you who've not seen the earlier sessions, you can go back on our YouTube channel and have a look at them. And I recommend that because I think um, he has sort of distilled years and years of experience into these short sessions. So, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Karthik. Thank you so much, Karthik, for joining us. Over
Thank
to
you
you.
very much. Very good morning, and you're extremely generous as always. वो कहते हैं ना, those who can't do teach, it's more like that. But anyway, it's wonderful to be back with all of you students. कुछ तो मैं सुन रहा था, Manisha ma'am was asking you guys exams कैसे रहे. So let's hope everybody's exams went well, which to me means that if you are happy with the way you did, for the most part, that's good enough. Try not to bother with how the person next to you did. काफी सारी चर्चा हुई है हमारी अलग अलग फैसेट्स के बारे में इन टर्म्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स। आज हम ऐसी चीज के बारे में बात करना चाहते हैं, पर्टिकुलरली बिकॉज फॉर नाउ दिस विल बी आवर लास्ट सेशन अराउंड कम्युनिकेशन और कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स। आई वांटेड टू टॉक अबाउट समथिंग जो मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग में हम अपनी जिंदगी के हर दायरे में यूज करते हैं, एंड इट्स समथिंग दैट वी डू लाइफ लॉन्ग, बिकॉज फ्रॉम द मोमेंट एनी ह्यूमन बीइंग इज born we are asking somebody or the other for something. As children, we ask our parents for several things. As we grow older, we ask our teachers, we ask other relatives. Older still, when we are at school in certain positions of authority, we may be writing to different individuals or organizations requesting or asking for certain things. And ये पूरा सिलसिला कुछ ना कुछ मांगने का, प्रोडक्ट, सर्विस, इवेंट, अटेंडेंस, ये बेसिकली जिंदगी भर चलता है। एंड एक दो चीजें मैंने निजी तौर पे इस विषय में नोटिस की हैं। आई एम वेरी डिलाइटेड कि आप लोगों के जनरेशन के साथ ये प्रॉब्लम मुझे बहुत कम लगती है, बट प्रायर टू यू गाइस, आई सपोज बिकॉज ऑफ आवर ब्रिटिश ओवरलॉर्ड्स, जब भी हम किसी से कुछ मांगते हैं, देर इज ए सर्टन subservience that tends to come into our manner, our content, even in fact in our body language. हम अपने आप को शायद उस व्यक्ति या उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से कम समझते हैं, or we feel that because we are asking for something, that automatically places us beneath the person that we are asking it from. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड कि ये ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी का एक बहुत अहम पहलू है जो समझना जरूरी है, बिकॉज इन टुडेज डे एंड एज जब भी हम किसी से कुछ मांगते हैं, वी आर एंटायर एंडेवर शुड बी कि जो हम रिक्वेस्ट लेके जा रहे हैं, वो हमारे रेसिपिएंट को, जिसको हम वो रिक्वेस्ट पेश कर रहे हैं, उसे रिक्वेस्ट नहीं लगनी चाहिए, उसे वो एक अपॉर्चुनिटी लगनी चाहिए। एंड द होल स्ट्रैटेजी एंड गेम अराउंड दिस बिजनेस इज कि मैं अपना रिक्वेस्ट, अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट कैसे इस तरह से प्रेजेंट करूं जिससे कि वो ऐसा ना लगे कि मैं कोई बेगर्स बोल लेके जाके और मांग रहा हूं, बल्कि मैं उस व्यक्ति को या उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को ऑन इक्वल टर्म्स आई एम गिविंग देम एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बी पार्ट ऑफ समथिंग दैट आई एम proposing. And in order to make our proposals and requests and pleas and convert them into opportunities, हमें दो तीन चीजों का खास ख्याल रखना चाहिए। उनमें से एक बहुत अहम चीज वो है, वे we should not and cannot afford to come across as lesser than the person or the party we are communicating to or with. We must come across on equal terms. We must come across as people or a person or an organization, if we are also representing an organization, as somebody who is exactly of the same value as the person or the organization we are communicating with. Now, let me tell you that this happens at home also, and this happens in the real world and in the professional scenarios also. तो प्रपोजल, ये हालांकि मॉड्यूल प्रपोजल राइटिंग है, बट इसका एक्चुअली जो प्रैक्टिकल यूसेज है और एप्लीकेशन है, दैट इज मच मच ब्रॉडर, and it applies to various situations in life, so much so that it's almost on an everyday daily basis that we can take advantage of certain strategies and tools and tips of how to approach this entire thing. क्या हमें कोई बता सकता है कि प्रपोजल शब्द का अच्छा हिंदी अनुवाद क्या होता है? व्हाट इज प्रपोजल इन हिंदी? Anyone? Proposal in Hindi. As far as I know, it is प्रस्ताव। एक कोई मैं प्रस्ताव लेके जा रहा हूं, आई थिंक सो प्रस्ताव। एंड ओके, लेट मी बी अ लिटिल चीकी। दुनिया में पर्सनल मामलों में, पर्सनल realm में, what is one of the trickiest times where we have to make a proposal? So, when you like somebody, whether it's a girl or a boy, and you want to propose to that person for them to become your partner or start dating or get married, that proposal is a very, very dangerous and tricky situation, isn't it? और उसमें भी, बिलीव इट और नॉट, अगर हम जो स्ट्रैटेजी मैं आपको बताऊंगा उसे एनालाइज करें, तो एक्चुअली हम लोग उसके काफी सारे एलिमेंट्स अनकॉन्शियसली यूज करते ही हैं। We put our best foot forward. We always present a couple of big advantages for the other person in getting involved with us, vagara vagara. So you must look at this very holistically. It's not just about, अच्छा मुझे अभी स्कूल से बोला गया है कि XYZ को आप एक प्रपोजल लिख के और उनसे कुछ मांगिए। इट्स वेरी वेरी ब्रॉड। उसी के साथ I'm going to share my presentation as usual. One second.
तो
Okay, so I mean, I couldn't resist this. मेरा खुद का बैकग्राउंड ही फिल्म है। This is one of my favorite films, The Godfather, and it's a very iconic dialogue of Marlon Brando's and of that character. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Of course, ये तो बहुत थोड़ी मतलब गुंडागर्दी वाली बात हो गई, but it's really all about proposal only. सो लाइक आई वाज सेइंग, तीन चार इसमें बहुत जरूरी अलग अलग एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो हमें केयरफुली कंसिडर करने चाहिए, उनके बारे में सोचना चाहिए गंभीरता से, एंड वी शुड फिगर दोज थिंग्स आउट बिफोर वी एक्चुअली प्रेजेंट आ प्रस्ताव, चाहे हम वो लिखित में कर रहे हो या वर्बली कर रहे हो, एंड इवन इफ वी आर डूइंग इट मोर कैजुअली, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड कि जैसे जैसे आप लोग बड़े होंगे एंड वंस यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग एंड ऑक्यूपाइंग द प्रोफेशनल वर्ल्ड, द कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड, हमें जब हम बच्चे होते हैं हमें ये हम ये मान के चलते हैं कि ऑफिस एंड वर्क लाइफ इज वेरी सीरियस, बड़ी बड़ी मीटिंग्स होती हैं, ये होता है, प्रेजेंटेशंस होते हैं, वो सब सही है, बट यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड द नंबर एंड द quantum of crucial decisions in work life that are made in very, very relatively informal settings and scenarios. लंच के दौरान, कॉफी ब्रेक पे, किसी से ऐसे ही चर्चा हो रही है, those are also times when a lot of critical decisions are made. A lot of people take those opportunities, those lighter moments to propose something that they've had on their minds for a long time. So ऐसा नहीं है कि ये हमेशा उसी फॉर्मेलिटी और प्रोसेस के दायरे में ही होगा. इट कैन टेक प्लेस एट एनी पॉइंट एट एनी टाइम. तो ये क्या एलिमेंट्स हैं जिन पे हमें फोकस करना चाहिए? एक तो जैसा मैंने कहा, द होल आइडिया, नेवर फॉरगेट, ऑलवेज कीप दिस गोल्डन गोल इन माइंड. यू हैव टू कन्वर्ट योर रिक्वेस्ट इनटू एन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर द रेसिपिएंट, जो आपका प्रपोजल रिसीव कर रहा है उसके लिए. और वो करने के लिए पहले हमें उनके साथ एक अच्छा रियलिस्टिक ऑन ग्राउंड बैकग्राउंड शेयर करना चाहिए, जिससे उन्हें ये पता लगे कि इस पर्टिकुलर चीज में आज के दिन ग्राउंड रियलिटी और सिचुएशन और परिस्थितियां क्या हैं. मान लो कि मेरा एक प्रपोजल है कि मैं एक बहुत जानी मानी टेनिस एकेडमी को एक प्रपोजल भेज रहा हूँ, ईमेल भेज रहा हूँ कि प्लीज आप आके और हमारे स्कूल में एक टेनिस कैंप ऑर्गेनाइज करिए. उस उसको कहने से पहले इजंट इट लॉजिकल दैट आई शुड टेल देम कि भाई आजकल टेनिस के मेरे स्कूल में क्या हालचाल हैं, कितने लोग खेल रहे हैं, are people, are students excited by that game or not, वगैरह वगैरह. So understand first, do a detailed study and communicate that relevant topical context. Very important. इस सारी चीजों के उदाहरण मैं दूंगा, so don't worry about big big words. So context या background देना जरूरी है. प्रपोज अ बिग आइडिया. सी, आपका मेन प्रपोजल तो जो आप मांग रहे हो या जो आप रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हो वो होगा ही, बट टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ आवर प्रपोजल्स ये हमें कहना जरूरी है कि बॉस, एक्चुअली सच ये है कि हम तो ये कैंप रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, पर ये करने से जो पोटेंशियली अचीव हो सकता है वो इस कैंप से कहीं ज्यादा बड़ी चीज है. People and human beings and organizations love the idea of being part of something larger than themselves and larger than the finite event that is going to take place. They love being part of a movement, a philosophy, etc. etc. So, ये अगर हम उन्हें अश्योरेंस दिला सकें कि ये केवल एक आइसोलेटेड स्टैंड अलोन इवेंट या इस उसके बारे में नहीं है, इसके इम्प्लीकेशंस, इसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, इसका इम्पैक्ट इससे कहीं ज्यादा होगा, कहीं बड़ा होगा, देन people, individuals, organizations are bound to be much more excited about those proposals rather than other ones. So, proposing a big idea is very important. Communicating on equal terms is something I have mentioned. How does this practically play out? Just as a quick example, it practically plays out with जैसे एक जमाने में हम ये सब बहुत अपने लेटर्स में और प्रपोजल्स में लिखते थे। आई एम होपिंग फॉर, आई विल बी सो ग्रेटफुल, सो थैंकफुल। ये ज्यादा जरूरत से ज्यादा मक्खनबाजी करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, because that is that is where we sort of lessen ourselves. Nobody is saying be arrogant, nobody is saying be rude, but let's communicate on equal terms, because just because we are coming and asking you something doesn't mean that we are coming with the beggar's bowl. We're in fact bringing you an opportunity that will be equally, if not more, useful to you. And हमेशा ये भी एक ह्यूमन इंसाइट पे बेस्ड चीज है। जब भी हम कुछ मांगते हैं दुनिया में, तो उसको ना कहने के उस व्यक्ति के पास 100 कारण होंगे और हां कहने के एक या दो होंगे। तो जो 100 कारण हैं, उन 100 कारणों में से अगर हम अपने आप को उनके शूज में रखें, उनकी जगह रखें, एंड ये प्रिडिक्ट, प्रिएम्प्ट और गेस कर सकें इन एडवांस कि इस प्रस्ताव में इस व्यक्ति को या इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को ऐसे एक दो मेन प्रॉब्लम्स क्या दिखेंगे, और उन प्रॉब्लम्स को प्रिडिक्ट करके अपने प्रपोजल में ही हम उनके सॉल्यूशंस दे दें, तो उससे एक दो बहुत बड़े एडवांटेजेस बनेंगे। नंबर वन, यू विल डेमोन्स्ट्रेट कि आप एक लॉन्ग टर्म और डीप थिंकर हो। एंड नंबर टू, बहुत ज्यादा समय जाया होता है इन बैक एंड फोर्थ ड्यूरिंग कम्युनिकेशन। सो has my presentation stopped presenting?
Yes, somebody misused their own ability to share and
That's
tried to
fine.
share, and that's what happened. So please
कोई बात
don't
नहीं,
try
yeah.
and try and pay attention.
So
Karthik will
yeah,
come with examples which you'll be able to understand. So that's what
सो
happened.
ये प्लान करना और प्रिडिक्ट करना जरूरी है कि भाई इसमें ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है। लेट्स जस्ट टेक दैट टेनिस एग्जांपल आई गिव। हो सकता है उस एकेडमी को लगे कि अरे यार ये कौन स्कूल है, क्या इनके पास रद्दी सीमेंट कोर्ट होंगे। जस्ट एज एन एग्जांपल आई एम टेलिंग यू। तो आप अपने प्रस्ताव में ही ये रख सकते हैं, बोल सकते हैं इन ए वेरी मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट मैनर। हम ये नहीं कहेंगे कि अच्छा अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि हमारे पास कोर्ट नहीं होंगे, but we can always say that additionally, we are delighted to inform you that recently we have built two world class courts that meet all the international standards, falana falana. So, certain way of preempting and addressing problems that may crop up. Now, let's understand context a little bit in detail. Context एक बहुत जरूरी कॉन्सेप्ट है एक्चुअली in communications, broadly speaking also. So if you understand what context truly means, it really is helpful. um, तो मैंने एक सिंपल सा उदाहरण दिया है। लेट्स रीड दिस। देयर वर 29 रॉबरीज इन गांधीनगर इन 2025। देयर वर 29 रॉबरीज इन गांधीनगर इन 2025। अगर हमें केवल आइसोलेशन में ये एक फैक्ट दिया जाता, तो उसके बेसिस पे हम क्या कंक्लूजन्स निकाल पाते? केवल इतना ही कि 2025 में इस लोकेलिटी में 29 रॉबरीज हुई। पर अगर हम उस स्टेटमेंट के अतिरिक्त एंड इन एडिशन टू दैट वी प्रोवाइड even one or two more statements, then the conclusions we can draw become much better, deeper, more. तो अगर हम ये भी कहते हैं there were 20 robberies in गांधीनगर in 2024, अब हमें क्लियरली एक पैटर्न दिख रहा है या एक बदलाव दिख रहा है, क्योंकि हमें एक पॉइंट ऑफ कंपैरिजन मिल गया है। एक्चुअली कॉन्टेक्स्ट इन अ सेंस इज ए पॉइंट ऑफ कंपैरिजन। it's the ground situation. So, and then the government has decided to reduce nighttime patrolling in Gandhinagar in 2026. अब इसको मैंने और भी कॉम्प्लिकेट कर दिया है, क्योंकि अगर हम ये इन दोनों फैक्ट्स को देखें तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि 2025 में तो बल्कि रॉबरीज बढ़ी हैं, तो गवर्नमेंट ने पुलिस की तैनाती कम कैसे कर दी भाई? ये तो बहुत बुरा मूव हुआ है. सो देन वी कैन स्टार्ट टू फॉर्म, we can start to analyze, we can start to critically see things, and we can start to form opinions, and basis those opinions we can take certain actions. That is how important context is, क्योंकि context के बिना हम कुछ जान ही नहीं सकते हैं और उसका हम कुछ कर भी नहीं सकते हैं. So I thought this was a good opportunity to leave you with this particular example of context, because context, yes, of course, I'm saying use context in your proposals, but context, broadly speaking, also is absolutely critical as far as communications is concerned. और वो अलग अलग एक्टिविटीज में अलग अलग तरह यूज होता है, एंड इट वी डिराइव different benefits from a certain context. Okay, so this is dangling a carrot is basically another way of saying कि जो हम प्रस्ताव लेके जा रहे हैं, जो हमारी मांग है, वो हम उसको अपॉर्चुनिटी में कन्वर्ट करके उस तरह से दर्शाएं. The recipient should view the proposal or request as an unmissable opportunity for them. And इसको करने के लिए पहले हम कॉन्टेक्स्ट देंगे, फिर हम ऐसे 2 या 3 कारण सोचेंगे जो थोड़े हटके कारण हो, जो ऐसे कारण हो जो शायद वो भी पहली बार उनके दिमाग में ना आए, जो उनके लिए बहुत ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव हो. तो मांग मैं रहा हूं, पर जो मेरी मांग है, अगर वो मांग पूरी करते हैं तो उसमें उनके लिए 1 2 3 बड़े बड़े एडवांटेजेस भी हो सकते हैं. दोज आर द एडवांटेजेस दैट वी नीड टू थिंक ऑफ एंड बी क्रिएटिव विथ एंड कम्युनिकेट. Always think from the point of view of the recipient. That is something I've mentioned. अपने आप को हम उनकी जगह रखेंगे, उनकी क्या प्रायोरिटीज हैं, वो क्या चाहते हैं, उनके बिजनेस के लिए क्या फायदेमंद है, उनके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए क्या सेंसिबल है, उस तरह से सोचना जरूरी है. एंड इफ इट हेल्प्स, ये खैर दिस इज अ वेरी पर्सनल थिंग, जब आप बैठ के और इन चीजों के बारे में सोचेंगे बिफोर यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग, यू कैन यूज वॉट एवर मेथड यू वॉन्ट. कई लोग माइंड मैप भी बनाते हैं, उससे समटाइम्स थिंग्स बिकम अ लॉट क्लियरर एंड इजियर टू नेविगेट एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंड. ओके, सो this is just another explanation of predict, preempt, and plan. Exemplify deep thinking, planning, time saving awareness by estimating potential roadblocks from recipient's perspective. ये मैंने अभी समझाया था. जो 1 2 मेन मुद्दे हो सकता है रेसिपिएंट को लगें कि यार इस प्रपोजल में ये या ये प्रॉब्लम आ सकती है, उनके बारे में सोच के गंभीरता से उनको प्रिडिक्ट करके और उनका समाधान आप प्रपोजल में ही इंक्लूड करें, एंड यू विल सेव प्रेशियस टाइम इन टर्म्स ऑफ बैक एंड फोर्थ. And if you need to make a mind map, this is very very important. We are back to the big idea. Big idea उस पर्टिकुलर वर्क स्पेस में हो सकती है, या सेक्टर में, या सेगमेंट में, या इंडस्ट्री में. बिग आइडिया सोसाइटी के वेलबींग के लिए, जिसे हम ग्रेटर गुड कहते हैं, उसमें हो सकता है. और बिग आइडिया एक सर्विस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी हो सकता है, विच इज अगेन सिमिलर टू सोसाइटी इन द सेंस कि वी विल बी परफॉर्मिंग अ ग्रेट सर्विस टुवर्ड्स a particular community or a particular segment of society. So, this S, if you keep in your mind almost like a formula or a mantra, then you will be able to think of that big idea to write at the end of your proposal. Okay, now here is the example. As the literary society student in charge of your school, write to publishing house Penguin. Penguin एक बहुत पुराना जाना माना publishing house है. Publishing house is a company that edits and publishes and chapos and prints and distributes books. यू वांट टू राइट, तुम एक अपने स्कूल का जो लिटरेचर क्लब है, इंग्लिश क्लब है, उसके इंचार्ज हो, स्टूडेंट इंचार्ज, एंड यू हैव बीन टोल्ड प्लीज सेंड पेंगुइन a proposal to organize one of their senior editors to visit your school and conduct a workshop about writing in the age of artificial intelligence. बहुत टॉपिकल है, बहुत रेलेवेंट है, ये कोई हाइपोथेटिकल सिनारियो नहीं है. It is very much plausible, possible, and these kinds of events are taking place. So, how should we approach this proposal? How should we incorporate all the elements that we spoke about? And इससे उभर के हम किस तरह का प्रस्ताव आगे लिख सकते हैं और भेज सकते हैं. सो लाइक मोस्ट प्रपोजल्स वी बिगिन विद द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. मैं क्विकली याद दिला दूं, कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज ए ऑन ग्राउंड सिचुएशन. Literature has had a rich legacy in our school, and the literary society, of which I am currently the student in charge, is a passionate cohort of our students who love reading, appreciate the nuances of writing. Many of us at different stages of developing our own first books. Marrying our instinctive quest for storytelling with the value an original literary work holds with colleges abroad from an admissions point of view makes our pursuits अ विन विन सिचुएशन. तो मैंने ये बेसिकली कहा है कि हमारी जो लिटरेचर सोसाइटी है स्कूल में, उसमें जो भी हम सारे बच्चे जुड़े हैं, हम लिटरेचर के बारे में, बुक्स पढ़ने के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा पैशनेट हैं. हम में से काफ़ी ऐसे भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो अपनी अपनी खुद पहली किताबें इस वक्त लिख रहे हैं. और वो किताबें दे आर अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ सर्टन आइडियाज एंड स्टोरी आइडियाज वी हैव. एंड हमें पता है कि वो फॉरेन कॉलेजेस को अप्लाई करने की दृष्टि से भी हमारे सीवी और रेज्यूमे पे अच्छी लगेगी, अच्छा लगेगा. And so, however, the advent and adoption of artificial intelligence is a relative unknown that both schools such as ours and publishing houses like yours are currently navigating. तो ये जो एआई अब आया है, और स्पेसिफिकली पब्लिशिंग में, बुक राइटिंग में, एडिटिंग के दायरों में एआई का जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट अभी बढ़ना शुरू हो रहा है, इसके बारे में हम भी बहुत कम जानते हैं. और इसके बारे में तो बल्कि आप जैसे पब्लिशिंग हाउसेस भी अभी सॉर्ट ऑफ वेट एंड वॉच कर रहे हैं कि हमें कैसे स्ट्रैटेजी करनी है और कैसे आगे बढ़ना है. While AI seems to be replacing any human involvement in writing, for you as proliferators, it is ostensibly dehumanizing a significant portion of the manuscripts and proposals you are receiving for consideration. तो हालांकि एआई से अब बहुत सारे लोग रिटन कंटेंट जनरेट कर रहे हैं, आप जैसे लोग जो सीरियस और अच्छे स्तर के लिटरेचर को पब्लिश करते हैं, छापते हैं, और आपको हर दिन इतनी सारी कहानियां और प्रपोजल्स आते हैं कि ये छापिए, हमारी बुक छापिए, आपको ये शायद लगता होगा कि इतना ज्यादा एआई का इन्वॉल्वमेंट एक लिटरेचर में जो बहुत ही अहम ह्यूमन इन्वॉल्वमेंट और फीलिंग्स और एक्सपीरियंस होता है, वो उसे कम कर रहा है और कहीं ना कहीं डाइल्यूट कर रहा है. सो दिस इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट विद विच यू कैन बिगिन. इट्स रियलिस्टिक, इट्स कंपेलिंग, एंड बेसिकली आपने एक सॉलिड बेस बना दिया है बॉस की मैं जो मांगने जा रहा हूं उसका कोई ठोस कारण है, और वो ये है proposition. To us, it makes imminent sense that as young students, we'd be much better informed in terms of the extent of AI usage and the manner of its deployment if it were to come from a publishing perspective. तो जब हम में से इतने सारे स्टूडेंट्स और बच्चे अपनी अपनी पहली किताबें लिख रहे हैं और हम चाहेंगे कि ये किताबें पब्लिश हों, तो आपसे बेहतर हमें इस बारे में बताने वाला कोई है ही नहीं कि हम अपनी बुक्स में एआई का कितना इन्वॉल्वमेंट रखें, नहीं रखें, अगर उसे यूज करें तो किन चीजों के लिए करें, कैसे करें. We therefore propose that Penguin organize an interaction between a senior editor and our literary club. एक लाइन में बहुत सिंपली हमने अपना प्रोपोजिशन दे दिया है कि हम चाहेंगे कि आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से एक सीनियर एडिटर आए और हमारे लिटरेरी क्लब के छात्रों से इंटरेक्शन करे और इन चीजों के बारे में बात करे. Now, how do we make this request into something which is an unmissable advantage for Penguin, the publishing house? So now we are going to dangle the carrot. In an uncharted new world, with younger generations displaying a clear preference for the visual over the written, the proposed interaction presents an undeniable additional opportunity to connect with my generation and reignite the dwindling passion for literature and writing. Bam! सॉरी. सो बेसिकली व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज, आप एक ऑलमोस्ट एक वेल्ड थ्रेट दे रहे हो कि देखिए हम सब जानते हैं कि पीपल आर स्टार्टिंग टू यंग किड्स आर स्टार्टिंग टू रीड लेस एंड लेस. सब लोग केवल स्क्रीन पे रहना चाहते हैं. तो बाकी सब छोड़िए, आपका यहां आके हमारे से इंटरेक्ट करने में सबसे बड़ा एक ऑब्वियस एडवांटेज तो ये है कि आपको हमारे एज ग्रुप का एक टारगेट ऑडियंस मिल जाएगा जिसमें आप लिटरेचर का लव एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा की बातें एक बार कर सकते हो, एंड यू कैन विन अस ओवर टू योर साइड. Further, it provides a chance for you to educate us about potentially rewarding career avenues within publishing that could, with authentic information directly from the horse's mouth, convert into serious options on students' career consideration sets. हम ऐसा क्यों हमेशा आप लोगों को एडवाइस करते हैं कि इंटर्नशिप्स करिए, वॉलंटियर करिए, जाके और उस सेक्टर का और इंडस्ट्री का अनुभव लीजिए, क्योंकि एक जो हमारे दिमाग में एक सेक्टर की छवि बन जाती है, विच इज ऑन ऑन पेपर एंड ओनली इन आवर माइंड्स, can sometimes be very, very vastly different from how and what all actually goes on in that sector. शायद ही बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स को ये मालूम भी होगा कि पब्लिशिंग एक ऐसा सेक्टर है जिसमें कई अलग अलग तरह से हम जुड़ के और एक काफी फुलफिलिंग और रिवॉर्डिंग करियर और लाइवलीहुड बना सकते हैं. सो आई एम ऑल्सो टेलिंग दीज पीपल कि बॉस, यू कैन लेट अस नो अबाउट ऑल ऑफ दीज पॉसिबिलिटीज, जो अल्टीमेटली विदाउट सेइंग इट आप ये बोल रहे हो कि जो आपके लिए लॉन्ग रन में बेनिफिशियल रहेगा. While you stand to future proof while you stand to future proof your sector, while you stand to future proof your sector, we gain clarity around our principal struggle right now, which is AI usage in writing. तो मैं ये अब क्लियरली बोल रहा हूं कि आपको एक ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी जहां आप अपनी सेक्टर का लाइफ बढ़ा सकते हैं, क्योंकि if we can reignite the habit of reading, if we can demonstrate to young people that there are careers to be made in this sector, you guys will benefit. एंड जहां तक हमारा सवाल है, हमारा तो जो एआई के साथ अभी स्ट्रगल चल रहा है इन टर्म्स ऑफ बुक राइटिंग, उस पे आपसे क्लैरिटी हमें मिलेगी. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग हियर ऑलरेडी is equal terms, if you see, because basically you're saying that this is it, this is what is in it for you, and this is what is in it for us. Now we come to the part where I'm saying that हमें प्रिडिक्ट और प्रिएम्प्ट करना पड़ेगा कि इसमें एक दो क्या बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकते हैं. I'm delighted to share with you that the school has taken an internal policy decision that should Penguin associate with us. We will sign an MOU whereby any student from our school with a book, manuscript, and or an idea who is keen on publishing, Penguin will have the first right of refusal. I'll just quickly tell you what first right of refusal is. कुछ भी जब हम प्रिपेयर करते हैं, तो जिसके साथ हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग या साठगांठ है, बेसिकली दैट आइडिया इज टेकन टू दैट पर्सन और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फर्स्ट, जिससे कि और कोई वो ना देख सके उनके मना करने से पहले या उनके मना करने तक. सो हियर व्हाट आई एम बेसिकली डूइंग इज, उन्हें प्रॉब्लम मैंने क्या प्रिडिक्ट की, प्रॉब्लम ये प्रिडिक्ट की कि यार ये ज्ञान तो पेंगुइन से सारा ले लेंगे और फिर इधर उधर जाके और अपनी बढ़िया बढ़िया आइडियाज सेल्फ पब्लिश कर लेंगे या किसी और कंपनी के पास चले जाएंगे. दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम आई प्रिडिक्टेड. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट, दिस इज द सोल्यूशन दैट आई हैव कम अप विद. आई एम डिलाइटेड टू शेयर कि स्कूल ने ये निर्णय ले लिया है एज अ रूल कि हमारे स्कूल से किसी को भी अगर बुक छापनी होगी तो पहले उन्हें वो आइडिया या मैन्यूस्क्रिप्ट पेंगुइन के पास ले जाना पड़ेगा. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी मेड मैंडेटरी. Penguin will have the first right of refusal. Another implicit safeguard that I would like to apprise you of is our non negotiable refrain on any public posting or broadcasting of any interactions that take place within the school, ensuring complete protection of intellectual and strategic assets. मुझे ये भी लग सकता है अगर मैं पेंगुइन हूं कि यार मैं तो जाके और इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन इन लोगों से के साथ शेयर करूंगा और ये लोग तो तुरंत उसके रील्स बना के और वीडियो बना के सारी जगह सोशल मीडिया वगैरह वगैरह में यूट्यूब पे डाल देंगे. सो दैट इज द सेकेंड थिंग आई हैव प्रिडिक्टेड, एंड आई एम सेइंग कि ऐसा भी हमने पॉलिसी डिसीजन लिया है कि आपके जैसे जो भी विजिटर गेस्ट इंटरेक्शंस हमारे स्कूल में होंगे, वो इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी केवल आपकी और हमारी होगी. इट विल नेवर बी पुट इनटू द पब्लिक डोमेन. सो दैट इज द सेकेंड बिग अश्योरेंस दैट आई एम गिविंग. एंड फाइनली यू एंड विद द बिग आइडिया. Instead of saying, okay, now we really hope to hear from you back positively, वगैरह वगैरह, जो एक जमाने में हम लिखते थे, all that is considered outdated now. As the world seems to grow increasingly insular, transactional, micro concerned, we believe that it is upon institutions such as ours and organizations like yours to reinstate a fairer societal order, a world that celebrates a united humanity, shared aspirations, collective contentment. As such, we see this not merely as a standalone event, but rather the start of a sustained relationship in service of society. Let us come together and start with fixing the narrative. तो अब बेसिकली मैं ये बोल रहा हूं कि बॉस ऐसा है, हम जिस दुनिया में आज अपने आप को पाते हैं वहां पे सबके मोटिवेशंस बहुत सेल्फिश हो गए हैं. सब बहुत ट्रांजैक्शनली बिहेव करते हैं कि अरे तो मेरा क्या फायदा होगा तो इसमें तुम्हारा क्या फायदा होगा। एंड अब हमारे जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, हियर अगेन you are intentionally pitching yourself and your school in the same level playing field as Penguin. We believe that it is upon institutions such as ours and organizations like yours to reinstate a fairer societal order. ये slightly romantic और philosophical बातें हैं, पर ये कहनी पड़ती हैं कि हम जैसे लोग जब साथ आके और जुड़ते हैं एक दूसरे से और काम करते हैं और कोलैबोरेट करते हैं, तो वो अल्टीमेटली दुनिया के लिए, सोसाइटी के लिए एक बहुत अच्छी चीज और डेवलपमेंट होता है। क्योंकि ये जो इतना ज्यादा सेल्फिशनेस, मटीरियलिज्म, मनी माइंडेडनेस, पावर ग्रीड हो रहा है, उसको हम थोड़ा सा बैलेंस आउट करने का बहुत इफेक्टिवली काम कर सकते हैं। एंड दैट इज बेसिकली व्हाट दैट होल पैराग्राफ इज अबाउट। And it says, let us come together and start by fixing the narrative, which is a pun on stories। जब हम लिखते हैं उनको narrative बोलते हैं, and a larger broader narrative of the way the world is functioning. So actually, if you look at it, any decent proposal should have these paragraphs. Paragraph 1, context; paragraph 2, proposition; paragraph 3, advantages for recipient; paragraph 4, solutions for recipient; paragraph 5, concluding paragraph. And this is basically एक तरह से a summing up of what we have discussed till now. Also certain other things जिसपे हम बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत से ज्यादा समय इन्वेस्ट करते थे, शायद अभी भी करते हैं। वी कैन सेव अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम एंड हार्ट एक, क्योंकि वो सब में समय व्यर्थ करने का अब कोई पॉइंट नहीं है। ग्लोबली there are certain very very accepted things, phrases to use। जैसे कई बार हमें लगता है कि ओहो मैं तो इतना छोटा यंग स्टूडेंट हूं और मैं जिनको लिख रहा हूं वो तो 70 साल के बुजुर्ग हैं, तो अब मैं कैसे शुरू करूं, कैसे एंड करूं, योर्स रिस्पेक्टफुली करूं, योर्स ट्रूथफुली करूं, सिंसियरली करूं। All of that has been very very simplified now, irrespective of your age, relationship dynamic, etc. Your greeting and salutation can simply be dear sir stroke ma'am. I'm saying dear sir stroke ma'am assuming in those scenarios जहां हमें पता नहीं है कि हमारा ईमेल कौन पढ़ेगा। सिमिलरली इन टर्म्स ऑफ द साइन ऑफ, जिसमें हम योर्स सिंसियरली, योर्स ट्रूली वगैरह वगैरह लिखते थे, यू लिटरली जस्ट हैव टू राइट वन वर्ड विच इज रिगार्ड्स। कई लोगों को बेस्ट एज एन ऑप्शन थोड़ा ऑड लगता है, सो यू आर वेलकम टू जस्ट स्टिक टू रिगार्ड्स। No need for statements such as hoping for a positive response. Why do we write? I mean, I do. Will I write hoping for a negative response? No. Obviously, I'm hoping for a positive response. So there's no point wasting time and stating the obvious. Very, very important. Please, please understand. प्रपोजल्स, ईमेल्स, मोस्टली हम प्रपोजल्स आज के दिन ईमेल के द्वारा ही भेजेंगे। ईमेल्स आर लीगली परमिटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स इन अ कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ। अगर मैं अपनी ईमेल प्रपोजल में इनोसेंटली भी मैं अगर लिख देता हूं कि आफ्टर दिस टेनिस कैंप योर अकेडमी विल डेफिनेटली गेट 10 एडमिशंस फ्रॉम आवर स्कूल, और अगर वो 10 एडमिशन नहीं आए तो वो आपको कोर्ट में ले जाके और ये बोल सकते हैं कि ये देखिए यहां पे प्रॉमिस किया हुआ है 10 एडमिशन मिलेगा। So don't make any promises. It is just about being a little careful about language. Use words such as great likelihood, good chance, etc., etc., and no need to make it obvious. No commitments, no promises. Don't lie, don't misrepresent. There's no need to do any of that. Those days are gone. It doesn't work. Very, very easy to find out the backgrounds of individuals, organizations, governments, etc., etc. So yeah, this in the 10-15 minutes we have left, जिनको अगर एक ये छोटा सा quickly try करना है, they are welcome to try this task. The others can ask questions related to today's session, or if sir allows anything regarding the previous sessions. एक मैं जरूर आपको सुझाव दूंगा कि क्योंकि समय कम है, व्हाट वुड बी वेरी यूजफुल इज इस टास्क को लेके आप पूरा प्रपोजल ना लिखें, ओनली थिंक ऑफ द मेन पॉइंट्स, कि आप दो बड़े एडवांटेजेस क्या बता सकते हैं, एक दो प्रॉब्लम्स और उनके सॉल्यूशंस क्या बता सकते हैं. Start with focusing on those. That itself will be an excellent exercise to do in the 10-15 minutes that remain. ये मैं quickly समझा देता हूं. You are in charge of the tennis club of your school. You have been asked to reach out to the Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy and request them to organize a 10-day visit to your school to conduct exhibition matches and a coaching camp.
Karthik, what I would suggest is that we give everybody a little time to just think about it, and then we together try and come up with ideas for the different blocks, what you call paragraphs,
Absolutely. Great idea.
right? So then people will sort of be able to relate with all that you said so
Makes
far,
sense. Makes sense.
right? So सब सोच सकते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए आपको करना क्या है। आप स्कूल की टेनिस एकेडमी के इंचार्ज हैं, आपने महेश भूपति टेनिस एकेडमी को लिखना है और उनको रिक्वेस्ट करना है कि 10 दिन के लिए आपके स्कूल आए, एग्जीबिशन मैच करें और कोचिंग कैंप करें। हमको करना क्या है, ये जैसे कार्तिक सर ने बताया 4-5 ब्लॉक उन्होंने बताए, और उसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट है request to give as an opportunity, dangling a carrot,
मैं
फिर
इसमें
आप
इसको
preempt करो।
I'll just write it simply in the chat once.
हाँ जी, or you can go back to that earlier,
Oh, it's
you had
not.
a chart, you had the fundas जहाँ पे लिखा हुआ था, that earlier chart on fundas, I think you summarized it. Uh, so, we can just spend थोड़ा समय, few minutes just thinking about what we will write, and then we'll just talk about it. Let's not worry about the writing piece of it. Let's
हाँ
just
हाँ
make sure we
बिल्कुल.
understood the concept.
Absolutely. That is really the where it's at. Okay, so I will, with your permission, sir, quickly use the washroom and come.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. समझ गए? Anybody has any questions? What we are going to do? Okay, so I assume everybody's understood. Okay, when Kartik sir comes back, we will, start the process.
हेलो।
हाँ जी।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
मॉर्निंग।
मतलब in here in this class and more sessions that we will attend, we will learn here how to write a book.
नहीं जी, Karthik has just explained to us the concept behind making a proposal, right? And we will now, once he comes back, in the context he has given, we will try and at least put the concepts together. ठीक है? How he is basically talking about अच्छी proposal कैसे बनाते हैं। और ये ब्रॉड कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, ये तो लिखित की बात कर रहे हैं, पर ये दिस इज ऑल्सो ट्रू ऑफ आपने किसी को वर्बली कुछ मांगना है, या कार्तिक ने तो शुरू में ये भी कहा था प्रपोजल, तो मतलब बहुत 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 अलग कॉन्टेक्स्ट होते हैं प्रपोजल जो शब्द है, तो कहीं भी आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। So what I'm doing is I'm writing down those some points around those 4 5 or these strategic fundas that Karthik has, and we'll just talk about those when Karthik comes back.
सो ऑन ग्राउंड सिचुएशन और कॉन्टेक्स्ट से मुझे याद आया, इट्स अ वंडरफुल अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मी टू रिमाइंड यू ऑल। ये मैंने ज़रूर इनिशियली एटलीस्ट अपने जब इंटरेक्शन शुरू हुए थे कहा होगा, इट्स एब्सोल्युटली क्रिटिकल टू बी अवेयर ऑफ करंट अफेयर्स। क्योंकि अगर मान लीजिए आप को पता लगता है करंट अफेयर्स में दैट सम इंडियन हैज लेट्स से made a certain round of Wimbledon or some other prestigious tournament for the first time, तो फिर हम उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वो बाकायदा लिख सकते हैं that seeing XYZ player, everyone is very very excited about tennis these days, etc etc.
Okay, Karthik, let's go.
All right, so anybody who would like to share कि हम शुरुआत कैसे कर सकते हैं, मतलब just in terms of one or two points. So these are all
Any volunteers?
these are all possibilities. इसमें कोई as such सही और गलत जवाब नहीं है, ना कि there are only one or two. There are many many options that can work.
So,
Hmm.
Karthik, what I wrote, I don't mind sharing, is that you know is around that several children were going outside to play tennis, and the school has recently got new tennis courts constructed, and we are looking for a way to introduce children to high quality coaching.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 That's a very very relevant context. Absolutely. That will immediately excite the academy also.
Anybody, any other thought?
Actually, what Jugjeev sir has done is very smart because he has inadvertently dangled the carrot in the very opening only. तो उनको इमीडिएटली लगेगा कि अरे यार ये लोग तो हमें तो मतलब एडमिशन्स मिल सकते हैं शायद. So certain things you don't even have to say. You know, there's that thing, no, कि what is it? होशियार को इशारा ही काफी है type of situation. Also, I think we can also generally say things such as अब हम हमारे students को लगता है कि क्रिकेट का एक saturation आ गया है. We are genuinely becoming interested in other sports, and because we have had a certain amount of success in tennis in our country and our players, that is a sport that is gaining more and more popularity.
Right. And the obvious big idea, which obviously will come at the end or wherever, and the end is how you sort of structured it, would be that something around working together to try and get in India in the top 10 ATP, or revive what Vijay Amritraj did, or Grand Slam like Bhupati did,
Absolutely.
something which sort of the bigger context that
Absolutely.
we
So
don't have
anything that draws
much
or
focus.
references a legacy, anything that it's so many. I don't like that word because it's any angle can be used. You can bung it in with the entire rising stature of India. And it only makes sense that we contribute to that in our way. There's so many ways of doing it.
Right. Right, right. And what I mean, if we, so the I think the point you made on equal terms is a very, very important point, right? It's a very, very important point, and many times when we are making a proposal, we just because we are asking, we think we are at a
Yes, sir.
lower level, so to speak. So I think that's a very important uh, point. Anybody, what else? Any other ideas on the example that Kartik asked us to work on?
So, in terms of the big advantages for the academy, वो एक दो तो मतलब ऑब्वियस ही हैं, पर उनको हमें लाइक आई सेड बिना प्रॉमिस या कमिटमेंट करे ये बताना पड़ेगा. Especially relevant for a lot of students who are joining us for these sessions, because particularly please understand and take it in the correct perspective. जब हम relatively smaller towns और cities से आते हैं, एंड अगर हम वो बात बहुत स्पेसिफिकली हमारे ईमेल में बताएं that there is this rising interest in Raipur and this and that towards tennis, and yeah, it's a big likelihood because parents are now willing to invest in careers that are sport led, that you may well solicit admissions at your academy. Then you see उनको भी ये लगता है कि अच्छा हाँ, तो हमने तो खुद ही बॉम्बे दिल्ली टैप कर लिया है यार, तो हमारे लिए भी नए मार्केट्स हो सकता है ओपन अप हो जाएं.
Right, right. Yeah, that's the other angle you could take. And, in the context of not promising, I guess you will have to write somewhere that, although, I mean, we won't sort of guarantee any admissions or something, whatever, something like that you'll have to write, right? Because you don't want to promise to them that they will give you admissions, right?
Huh. So, the way we do that, and there's no, I just feel that, of course, we can write it literally as a asterisk point or whatever, but as long as you're not saying you will definitely or you're sure, and instead you're using very news anchor type language, there is a chance, there is a likelihood, those are not promises.
Right. So let's look at the just the plan in the preempt part. What are the sort of issues they could have, and what we could sort of preempt?
सो टू केम टू माय माइंड. एक तो हो सकता है उन्हें लगे कि भाई ये एक स्कूल एक रिलेटिवली छोटे टाउन में है, तो हमें कितना एक्सपोजर मिलेगा in terms of the number of students who will come and see these matches and do the coaching camp, etc. So preempting that, we can, and also then, it feeds into that bigger idea, and you project yourself as a larger entity by saying ki we are also seriously considering that this kind of level of intervention should be made accessible to schools across the city.
Right,
So, that
right,
then becomes one very charming thing. The other one could be possibly related to the level of infrastructure that institution will have, which
right,
I had sort of alluded to earlier as an example, that we've recently had these courts refurbished or made or whatever, whatever.
right, right. Yeah, people coming and seeing the matches and their exposure. And when
Yeah.
you put it, other
And
people will come, then it's a big positive for them that,
yes, yes.
they'll
And
get it.
and the other, potentially a third one, because there's everything involves money and investment, that we already have our current sports faculty that will be all throughout, with your sort of coaches assisting in all manner possible, etc., so that they
Right,
don't feel कि अरे we need to land up there now with an army.
right, 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 right. Anybody, any other questions, any other thoughts? I think it's been very interesting to do this exercise, and I know you make this point every time, Kartik, and it's like very, very useful to actually try and do the exercise yourself and not just leave it to theory. So, anybody, any other questions before we let Kartik go on this session or any of the earlier sessions that you may have attended with Kartik? Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there, but I guess anybody has any questions? Okay, so thank you very much, Karthik. It's been, as always say, that it's always a personal learning experience for me. So uh, thank you for doing this for us and laying it out so beautifully. And
My
examples, as I
pleasure,
said,
my
make a big
pleasure,
difference. So
my
thank you so
pleasure.
much, and see you in a couple of
Have a
weeks.
lovely reading session, guys. Take care.
Okay, thank you. You're most welcome to stay on. We're reading What You're Looking For is in the Library. That's what we are going to be reading.
All right. Have a good one then.
So I think some of you are new. So I will give you a little bit of a background of this book that we are reading. Uh, the book is called What You're Looking For is in the Library. It is by somebody called Michiko Ayoyama. Uh, it was written in Japanese and translated into English. It's a relatively new book. Came out in the early 2020s. So you'll find lot of the language is very contemporary, and life is fairly contemporary uh, in this book. The book has five stories, so to speak, and we are currently reading the second one, which is about, and this is set in Tokyo. Somebody called Rio, who's working in the accounts department of a furniture company. Rio is 35 years old. He, ever since he was in school, he has been, he's been very keen on setting up an antique shop, but he's never had the courage to start the antique shop. Right, so he keeps dreaming about it, but doesn't has not taken made any effort to do something about it. And he has a girlfriend called Hina, Hina and he met because they seem to have some common interests. Hina, works with making things out of glass, and recently, what she's done is she's set up her own online store, and she works somewhere for a couple of days a week. She does her own online thing. She's staying at home with her uh, parents, and recently, she asked Rio to come with him to the library or the community center where there was a talk happening on minerals, because she wanted to get involved with minerals. And once the talk was over, she wanted to talk to the person giving the talk a little bit more. And so Rio went on to the library, and he had a chat with the reference section person there, who recommended uh, him some books. One of them was How Worms Work. And he couldn't understand why she would do something like that, but uh, he took the book home to read, and she also told him to sign out at the register while going out. And when he was doing that, he found a newsletter, uh, and so he picked it up because she had also given him a gift of a cat, and he found the same cat on the newsletter, and so he took that newsletter home. Right. Then the scene shifts, and what we read last time was that, in his office, uh, he has a boss who is much older than him, and he was a little out of date with the current softwares, and so Rio has having to spend a lot of time working with him and doing his job, because he's not up to date with the modern software. And he has an assistant who he didn't know, but who's actually the president's niece, and who has more interest in her own, talking on her own with her friends, and how she's looking, and putting her lipstick and stuff, nail polish and things like that, and less interest in work. And in the last session, we read how she had passed a expense statement, which was shouldn't have been passed, and Rio got very angry with her. So she went and complained to HR that Rio is threatening her, and he always tries to dominate her, and which wasn't the case. But so Rio was very upset, and when he went home, you know, he, Hina was there, and Hina had brought some wine because she had sales on her first day from her online shop, and but Rio was very preoccupied with what had happened in office. He snapped at her, and she just decided to go home. Uh, she normally would come and spend the weekend with him many times, and so that's where we will start now. With Hina gone, the weekend stretches out emptily before me. We rarely quarrel, and I haven't felt so idiotic in a long time. So the other thing about Rio is that he's not so communicative, right? So he keeps things to himself, and that sometimes, as we know, that can be a problem. I flicked through the TV channels, but the raucous, which is loud laughter from the variety shows, is tinny. Tinny is like thin metallic sound, and harsh in my ears. So I switch off. My eyes light on the book by my bed. How do worms work? Perhaps I can immerse myself in the wonders of nature instead. The more I read and the deeper I get into it, the more amazed and intrigued I am. Intrigued is when you become engaged and curious. And the strange thing is that surrendering myself to the wonders of a world apart from humans makes me begin to feel calmer. Similar to how I felt when I used to go to Enmukoya. Enmukoya is the antique shop he used to go when he was in school, and he'd bought a spoon from there, which is one of his prized possessions. Uh, Enmukoya unfortunately closed down, and we'd also read about why and all that, but let's not get into that. My estimation for the book grows. I like the way the questions: why are trees so big? Why can grass be mown? Why do some people talk to plants? Is it true that sunflower heads follow the sun? Are laid out next to their answers. I like the texture of the pages, like a soft, bright, bleached white shirt, tightly packed between protective hard covers, and the way they open out and lie flat. The content is so clear and easy to understand, and the illustrations are fine and beautifully drawn. The whole volume exudes a sensibility that's quite different from the illustrated reference books I'm accustomed to. The third chapter is entitled Below the Ground, with subsections such as how do worms work, where do roots go, how much of a plant is in its roots. I find this chapter deeply fascinating as I gaze at an illustration of a tree and its root system, with the earth the dividing line between what is above and what lies below. I am struck by a thought. Most of the time, we humans only look at the flowers or fruit of a plant because we live above ground. We switch our attention to below ground only when the roots have a particular interest for us, as in the case of sweet potatoes or carrots. Yet, from a plant's perspective, above ground and below ground are equally important and in perfect balance. Humans only see what suits them most and make that their main focus. But for plants, both are main. My mind jumps to the article about parallel careers where each job is complementary, neither is secondary. That's what Yasuhara had said. So in that book, in that newsletter he picked up from the community center, Ms. Komachi, who's a librarian, had written an article on this cafe with cats, and this person Yasuhara worked there, and the interview was there how he also had a full-time job and he also ran the bookstore, and so Rio got introduced to the concept of parallel careers, right? So that's what he's referring to here. Plants have work to do above and below ground, and their work in one area complements the other. Maybe it's the same with having an office job and running a store. Is that what Yasuhara is doing? What if I could do it too? But how do I combine them? That is the question. And let's just stop here for a bit. Let's try and answer some of the questions that were asked in that book. Why are trees so big? What do you all think? Why are trees so big? Why do they grow tall? Can anybody tell me? Take a guess. पेड़ इतने बड़े क्यों होते हैं? आकाश की तरफ क्यों जाते हैं? Would like to try? तलत, आकांक्षा, रोशनी, Dean, any thoughts? Anybody? You can answer or you can put it in the chat if you like.
Can you please repeat the question once again?
Sorry, let me just get my headphones, Talat. I can't hear you. Trees grow tall primarily to access sunlight efficiently, compete with plants, and optimize energy and transport and survival. Has very quickly Googled this and is giving you the answer. Right? So, yes, Talatma, do you want to tell us what you were saying? Talat, I think you were saying something earlier, and I wasn't able to hear.
I was asking that what was the question? Can you please repeat it?
The question was why do trees grow so tall? Okay. So Disha has Googled and put the answer there, and Dean Shah has also given an answer, and that this is what it is. Basically, the trees are trying to get as much of the sun as possible. That's why they uh, grow in that fashion. Okay, let's try and answer the next one. Why can grass be mown? Right? घास उगती है, हम ऊपर से काट देते हैं और फिर उगाती है. How does that happen? Normally, ऊपर वाली चीज, the head is there, कट जाए तो it can't grow, right? I mean, what do you think? Why can grass be mown? Why can grass be mown? Isha, you're on the roll. You may need your help again. Anybody else? Why can grass be mown? Because the ground that makes them grow is not on the top, right? And actually, if you cut the top, it grows better. Okay. Why do some people talk to plants? Have anybody, if you talk to plants, you talk to plants, you know people who talk to plants? I know my mother-in-law used to talk to plants. Anybody? Why do people talk to plants? Can plants listen? Plants hear? What do you think? Isha says when we pour some water and the grass to get sunlight. Yeah, but I mean, that's a separate thing. Obviously, it needs sunlight and it needs water to grow. Uh, but, the crown, what makes them grow is not on the top. That's why you can cut off the top and it continues to grow. Okay, next question. Why do some plants talk? Why do some people talk to plants?
Sir, according to me, the answer can be to connect more with nature.
To connect more with nature. Have you seen anybody talk to plants? Have you come across anybody who talks to plants?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, people can talk to plants for your plant. uh, you know, many people believe that when you talk to plants, plants grow better. At least I know for a fact that that's what my mother-in-law uh, believed. Right? She's very, very attached to uh, some plants. Okay, next question. Is it true that sunflower heads follow the sun? Firstly, have you seen it? Is it true or not? Do sunflower heads follow the sun?
Yes.
Okay, tell us.
Yes, sir.
All the time or sometime?
Sir, in the daytime.
In the daytime, yes, because the sun is only there in the day, but have you seen some sunflower plants which are not following the sun? Do they always follow the sun? Hmm. Do they always follow the sun? Disha, come on, help us. These days, the best thing to do if you don't know is to Google it. I'm sorry, I keep saying Google it because my daughter works in Google. But many
No, sir,
times,
actually, Google do answers our question. So that is one thing we all can do.
yeah. So the question is it true that sunflower heads follow the sun?
Yes, it
So
does.
Yes, sir.
then the next question is it always true? Do they always follow the sun? Or sometimes they don't follow the sun.
Sir, only young sunflower follow the sun.
Yes, yes, yes. And how does it happen? How does it happen? How does it happen? Actual growth is taking place in the course of the day, and that's how that's happening. Right? And after a while, when the growth stops, they stop following the sun. Okay. What else did we read about? Where do roots go? Okay, okay. How do worms work? Worms. Everybody knows what a worm is. Give me an example of a worm. What is an example of a worm?
Dancing, playing, cooking.
हाँ फिर से बोलो.
Sir, like dancing, playing, cooking, or singing.
Worm क्या होता है?
Sir, verb.
Worm. WORM.
W.
आपने सही बोला. वो एक्शन वाले आप वर्ब्स बता रहे थे. PERB. मैं पूछ रहा हूँ WORM. वर्ब.
Sir, insect.
हाँ जी, अर्थवर्म जैसे होते हैं. अर्थवर्म को हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं? मनीषा हेल्प.
Sir,
व्हाट इज अर्थ?
केचुआ.
नहीं, केचुआ नहीं है यार. व्हाट इज अर्थवर्म इन हिंदी? बारिशों के समय में निकलते हैं. केंचुआ लिखा हुआ है. हाँ केंचुआ. आपने केंचुआ बोला. हाँ केंचुआ. करेक्ट. केंचुआ. केंचुआ. ओके, सो थिंक ऑफ वर्म्स. केंचुआ. वो क्या काम करते हैं और उसका फायदा क्या होता है? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी?
अरे वो निकलते तो वो
Sir, the
हाँ आदित्य, समझ नहीं आया, फिर से बोलो. आदित्य.
सर वो
हाँ.
मतलब प्लास्टिक होता है उसको खाते हैं और उसको सैंड बना देते हैं मिट्टी.
हाँ मिट्टी में चलते हैं. मिट्टी पे थोड़ी उस पे ऊपर नीचे थोड़ी हो जाती है, और उस पे फिर मिनरल्स ऊपर आ जाते हैं, सन चला जाता है आगे, तो ग्रोथ के लिए और चीजों के लिए, ग्रोथ के लिए बेहतर होता है। हाँ जी तलत।
There they make the topsoil fertile.
Yes, yes, yes. Because of the movement, the minerals come up. So that's what happens. And you know how worms breathe? Through their skin. Okay. Breathe through their skin. Okay. Now the roots we know go under the ground, right? How far do the roots grow? Do you know? And how much of the plant is in its roots? Do we know that? How much of the plant is in its roots? Have you seen roots go only down, or they grow a little sideways also? What have you seen?
Sir, can you please repeat the question?
Question is, how much of a plant is in its roots? Do roots only go downwards, or do they also go sidewards?
Sir, downward.
Sir, they also go side.
Sir, downward.
Upward.
Downwards and sidewards.
Yes, sir,
वो
both
दोनों
the.
होता है. How much of a plant is in its roots? ऊपर कितना है, नीचे कितना है?
Sir, 70 to 80% under the earth soil.
Okay, now you all find this out and tell me next time how much of the plant is below the earth. Okay. Now tell me names of some vegetables. यहाँ पे इन्होंने एक नाम दिया, दो नाम दिए हैं, sweet potatoes and carrots. Which vegetables grow below the earth? कौन सी सब्जियां हैं जो जमीन के नीचे उगती हैं?
Sir,
Onion,
carrot.
हाँ,
Carrot.
हाँ,
Sir,
गाजर,
carrot,
कैरेट.
potato.
onion,
हाँ,
sir.
potatoes. What
Radish.
else?
Sir, onion.
Onion, yes. Radish, yes.
Radish.
Mooli, yes.
Sir, beetroot. Beetroot.
Beetroot, yes.
Sweet
Adrak,
potato. Sir, garlic.
garlic, lasan, yes. Correct. Good. Okay. Any questions so far? Otherwise, we'll read ahead. Okay. The next afternoon, I set out for Cats Now books, catching a train from Shibuya to Sanjanaya, transferring to the Tokyo Setagaya line, and getting out at the tiny unmanned Nishi Toshido station. I walked through the streets following the directions I have memorized. A light mid-December snow is falling. Anybody has seen snowfall? Any one of you has seen snowfall? बर्फ गिरती देखी है आपने?
Yes, sir.
What does it look like? कैसा? What does it look like?
Sir, they are in a circle shape spheres, and sir, they fastly come down,
Right.
and it's also harm other people's.
Yeah, it can. I mean, but normally, I mean, they're not so much to harm, right? ओले से आपको मतलब चोट लग सकती है, but these are आप जैसे आपने कहा, they're small and they float, right? Small pieces of snowflakes, जिसको आपको they float, so they don't harm, but obviously once on the ground, they can make the ground slippery. But if you see in movies, snowfall in movies, it's it looks like, cotton wool falling. Has anybody seen snowfall in movies?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Ah,
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
does it look like cotton wool is falling from the sky?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
Abhimanyu, tell me, in real life, does it look like that? Cotton wool is falling or is slightly different?
No, sir. They only look like a spear shape and they crack down with.
Anji, what I found was that in real life, the snowflakes end up falling much faster than what I see in movies. That's what my observation was. But yeah, broadly speaking, that's what it looks like. Interesting sight. And actually, when it's snowing, it's not so cold. It's probably colder before or afterwards, is was my experience. The area is residential, and I see nothing that looks like a shop. Wondering if I'm in the right place, I open up the map on my phone to check. I continue to follow the narrow street until I reach a white house with a blue signboard under the eaves with a yellow cat logo on it. A bay window display is filled with books that all have cats on the covers. I have found it. When I open the door, a burst of warm air envelops me, and I breathe a sigh of relief. A trim woman with bobbed hair sits behind a till. Till is the cash box or a counter, and the man in a blue check shirt on the other side of a door with slats at the rear of the shop I take to be Yasuhara. The area around the entrance has new publications, while second-hand books are displayed on the other side of the lattice door. I browse the shelves of new books until I feel slightly calmer. May I go in? I ask the woman. Removing my shoes as requested, I rub sanitizer on my hand and open the lattice door. So in Japan, it is a custom actually. You normally, even when you everybody's house, uh, nobody takes shoes inside. You normally leave your shoes outside the door, and that I mean many of you know that's also the custom in many parts of India as well. This is where the cats are. The brown mackerel tabby that looks exactly like the felt mascot Miss Komachi gave me is curled up on a cushion. Another tabby and a black cat stroll nonchalantly between the shelves. What is a mackerel tabby? Can anybody tell me what is a mackerel tabby? So, what we see normally, most of the cats we see around very common, which have those stripes. And I mean, I see, a couple of them outside in my building. They have these greenish and blackish stripes, which is what a mackerel tabby looks like. The stripes can be of different colors, but it's the most fairly common. Welcome, Yashuhara turns from a customer to greet me. He has a pleasant, mellow voice and a mild demeanor. Nonchalantly be read is not bothered about what else is happening. Mellow is soft and pleasant. My demeanor is how you come across. He has a pleasant, mellow voice and a mild demeanor, but is more intellectual looking than I expected from his photo. In the middle of the second-hand book area, there is a table with a small drinks menu in it. I read it 3 times over, trying to prolong my time in here as much as possible. Excuse me, could I order a coffee, please? Yes, hot or iced? Hot, I reply. Yasuhara makes eye contact with a woman on the other side of the lattice door who comes in and goes through to the kitchen. A cat wanders around my feet, a tabby with a white stomach and paws. The cats all seem to be extremely relaxed and at home. The woman brings me my coffee and returns to the till. I gaze around me at the books on display. It feels good to be sitting here drinking coffee, watching cats surrounded by books. I feel content and relaxed. If I left now, my wish would still have been perfectly satisfactory. My visit would have been perfectly satisfactory, right? Because he's come and he's felt relaxed. So that's why he feels that his visit would have been satisfactory. A mackerel tabby wearing an orange collar climbs silently to perch high up. This is the same cat that had been asleep on the cushion before. It settles and waves its tail. Our eyes meet. Aren't you here for a reason? Don't you want to know what it's like to achieve your dream? I feel as the cat is speaking to me. I gather myself to speak. When the other customer moves away towards the till, I put down my coffee and stand up. Excuse me. Yasuhara turns. I came today because I read an article by the librarian at Hattori Community House. He smiled. Ah, yes, Miss Kamachi kindly recommended us. Thank you for coming. I'm thinking about opening a shop too. It had been my intention to ease into the topic gradually, but the words spill out in a rush. Drat. Now Yasuhara will think I am a naive young man looking for a quick fix to solve all his problems and feel offended. I needn't have worried. His face lights up. A bookshop? No, antiques. He nods, looking interested. Also read some interviews you did online. I continue. I've never heard of a parallel career before. You work for a company during the week, don't you? That's right. Do you mind if I ask some questions? My name is Rio Urase, by the way. I work for a furniture manufacturer in the accounts department. Happy to. You won't get many customers in this cold weather anyway. Yasuhara sits down on a stool and signals for me to take one next to it. I sit down, still not knowing where to start. But before I can put my thoughts in order, the words just stumbled out. Isn't it hard work to manage a shop and work for a company at the same time? Don't you ever find that either gets too much? Yasuhara laughs lightly. No, I don't. If anything, it's doing both that makes me feel neither is ever too much of a burden. The mackerel tabby strolls over and jumps on to Yashuhara's lap. Before I had this place, all I ever used to think about was quitting my office job. But now that job is what gives me the means to enjoy running this bookshop. If the bookshop was all I did, however, then I'd have to spend a lot more time thinking about sales, strategies, and so on, which would be far more demanding. And I don't really want that. He strokes the cat along its body. I believe that a job secures you a place in society. So if you have a parallel career, you can have two places with neither side, with neither a side business. A place in society, having a presence in two fields and functioning in both, above ground and below ground. This image of the plant world is at the back of my mind as I ask. You said in the interview that neither was secondary to the other. Yes, but do you make as much money from the bookshop as working for a company? The instant I say this, I regret it, but Yashuhara brushes it off with a laugh. I don't mean secondary in that sense. To put it bluntly, I get more from the shop in terms of mental and emotional satisfaction than I do in monetary profit. Though, of course, I'm interested in increasing sales to keep the business afloat. The concept of being mentally and emotionally fulfilled from doing the thing I like is something I can relate to. But if both jobs are main, wouldn't that mean working constantly 7 days a week? I wonder if Yasuhara even feels like slacking off, taking a break, or going away. I choose my words carefully. But if you work in both an office and a shop, you'd never be able to go away anywhere, would you? That's not true, he says with a nod, in a tone that suggests this is something he is used to being asked. But I meet people here I wouldn't otherwise and have some really interesting encounters. It's like traveling to lots of different places every day. I might be in here all the time and never go out, but I get as much enjoyment out of this as I would from, say, a pastime like fishing. Does he? Indeed. What kind of experiences had he had? Who has he met here that can cause him to speak with such conviction? Owning a shop might have more advantages than I imagine, but whatever they are, I suspect that Yasuhara himself is a key factor. He seems smart, knowledgeable, discerning, well connected, and having the courage of his conviction, not like me. Having the courage of his conviction. What does that mean? Having courage of your conviction. What does that mean? Okay. Anybody? Having courage of your conviction. If you don't know, please Google. Very important point around having courage of your conviction. Manisha, if you can just go to that part, maybe the book will also tell us. Let's see what the book says meaning is.
Pardon, sir?
If you can just go to that part, sometimes the book, is giving the meanings out there as well, right? So just
Sir,
go
which word you want to see?
having the courage of his conviction.
So, for the phrase, it doesn't give, but for the word, it will give
Okay.
the meaning.
Okay. Okay. So, does anybody know what it means to have courage of your conviction? Have you heard of this phrase? Has anybody heard of this phrase before? Okay, convictions is Nisha ma'am is put over there. Okay. Having the courage of your conviction. Okay, so what is your conviction? Okay, so it's something you believe in or something you should do, right? And having the courage of your conviction is actually going out and doing it. It is one of the most powerful concepts which, that, which will determine how your life turns out. Okay, now that's a big thing for me to say, but that's how it is, right? If you believe in something, and you're not able to do it, then you will feel like Rio's feeling. Right? Okay. So Aradhya, why don't you try and read it for everybody? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Read it, what have you written?
Yes. The phrase having the courage of its conviction means being brave enough to stand by what he believes in, even when it is difficult or unpopular. A person who does not change their opinion just because others disagree or pressure them. Example sentence. He had the courage of his conviction and spoke the truth even when everyone opposed him.
Opposed him, yeah. So this is the context of where, where there are beliefs around something, right? So that belief could be anything, right? A belief could be a simple thing like, since we're talking of cats, I mean, there's superstition that if a cat crosses your way, it's unlucky, right? But if a person knows it's a superstition and he has courage of his convictions, it won't stop him from going ahead and saying it to me silly, it doesn't really matter, right? So it's taking action based on what you think is right. Right. So as Akansha says, okay, Akansha, why don't you read it out for us?
Okay, sir, I have Googled it and it says having confidence in one's beliefs or values.
Right. Yamini, would you like to read what you've written? Okay, let me read it. It means
Yes,
being
sir.
brave and yeah, go ahead, read it. Go ahead, Yamini.
Sir, it means being brave and confident enough to act on your beliefs even when facing opposition, criticism, or pressure to conform. Basically, conviction means a very strong opinion or belief.
Okay, so I give you a very simple and relatively inconsequential example, but it's to do with any belief that you may have and how you stand up for it and take action based on what you think is right. So that's the context in what I said, that it's one of the most powerful concepts for you to imbibe, right? If you believe in something, uh, can you actually take action based on your belief? If you can, then you have the courage of your conviction, right?
Sir,
Okay. Anybody have any other question on it? Okay, it's a very, very important concept. Okay, so, okay. I don't have anything, not enough time, money, or courage. I always think that one day I will do it, but I never do. I don't have what it takes to get started. Yasuhara stares at the mackerel tabby in silence. I worry that I have worn out my welcome with all my negativity. Then he turns to face me and I see he is smiling. The moment you say don't, you are done for. Excuse me. You have to turn that don't into a goal. Turn don't into a goal. What's that supposed to mean? Find the funds, make the time, pluck up the courage. I see him observing me as I struggle to voice those thoughts aloud. Okay, so let's just go back to that thing. What did he say? He said, I don't have what it takes to get started. Okay. And Yasuhara says, turn the don't into a goal. Okay. So that's a good lesson for all of us, right? If you say to yourself, I am not smart enough to do this, I am not strong enough to do this, I am not big enough to do this, turn it around into a goal, right? So say, okay, my goal is to do this. That's the point that is being made. Any question? Again, a very powerful concept, right? Rio is, is doing a lot of negative self-talk and telling himself, I can't do this, I can't do this. Yasuhara is saying to turn that into a goal. Okay, so if you say that I mean, it's a very common thing. I am scared of maths. I can't do maths. So your goal now is that how to do maths. I will do math or I will learn this, right? If you turn that around, you will be successful, is the point that is being made. Okay, any questions, any thoughts? Will you try that? You think it's worth trying? Do you think it's worth trying? Turning the don't into a goal. Kancha says yes. I think so. Very powerful concept. Right? How to turn don't or can't into a goal. So yeah, that's what I would suggest as well. Okay. So then Yasuhara starts to talk more and he talks about himself a little bit. Okay. I don't like being around people, he says, and gives a wry smile. Another extraordinary statement, and not one I would expect to hear from someone I've only just met. Not to mention someone with a customer service business who happens to be speaking most kindly to me at this very moment. But there came a time when I thought I ought to make an effort and listen to what other people might have to say. Once I started to show my face here and there, I had encounters that led to all sorts of opportunities and connections. The mackerel tabby jumps down from Yasuhara's lap. It ambles over to the black cat and puts his face up close, as if there is something it simply must convey. Everybody is connected, and any one of these connections could be the start of a network that branches in many directions. If you wait for the right time to make connections, it might never happen. But if you show your face around, talk to people, and see enough to give you the confidence that things could work out, then one day might turn into tomorrow. Looking at the cats, he adds, timing is all important. Don't let the right moment slip by. It sounds very much as if he is talking about fate. For someone who seems to be such a realist, they are weighty words. I look at him enviously. Okay, Manisha, should we stop here? 12:24.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the last part is what he's suggesting is that, many times we are lost. He says, just start. You don't know what will happen, then you just start. Okay, so that's the last bit of advice that yeah, that Yasuhara is giving. Right. So, anybody, any other questions, any thoughts? What we just read. Any thoughts? Anybody? Any learnings? Anything you learned today? I'd suggest that you think about what I just asked, anything that you learned today, and write down one or two things that you may have learned today. Right? In what we read, in what Kartik sir explained to us on proposal writing, just write it down. Right? And we have the Joy of Learning diaries, and some of you are familiar with that. And you'd be happy to publish your thoughts in that. So, but do take a minute to write down what you've just learned today. Okay, Manisha, back to you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and I hope a few of you are also coming for the retreat, which is going to start from 10th of April. So we have an offline session with Kartik sir in the retreat. So those who are there, they will have an opportunity to meet him in person, and there are other people also. So that's going to be a little surprise for you. So do join for the retreat. In case you have not, you may go ahead. Also, we are waiting for your write-ups, your little reflection, your takeaways from our session. Kartik sir even asked you to write a book review. And today, whatever he has told you to do it, please do it and send it to me so that we can post it in our group. We are going to publish on our website. So this week, the last week, I have not received any reflection. So it's just a kind reminder and request. So please send your reflection as soon as you may. Maybe today, tomorrow, or like just before the coming Sunday, you may send your reflections. In case you have any doubt, you may send me a message or an email for solving your doubt, or you may also have one coordinator in your school who is going to help you in this regard. So, in case there is any question which you want me to answer, I'm here. Yes, Aradhya, do you want to ask something? You tried to unmute.
No, ma'am. Sorry.
It's okay then. Okay, then, in case there's no question, I'll say a goodbye to you for today. Wishing you a very happy week ahead. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Thank you and bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, Victor.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Bye, everyone. See you the next week with your reflection. Take care.